Hey, hello, welcome to the show. It's me, John Park. It's time for a very special episode of Ask JP's Workshop or something along those lines. Yes, that's right. It's normally Ask an Engineer at this time. My show's normally tomorrow, but nothing's normal right now because Adafruit is moving to Brooklyn. And in the middle of all of that chaos, we've decided to make things even more chaotic and have me hop into the Wednesday night time slot. So here I am. This is going to be the last week of Ask a JP's Workshop, Don't Ask Lars. And then next week, Lady Ada and Mr. Lady Ada will be back on their Wednesday night action, and they'll be doing their show as usual, or maybe not, because there's a new location they'll be broadcasting from. I'll be doing my show on Thursday of next week, so again, back to sort of semi-normal. But it has been fun. Thanks so much for putting up with this this wacky situation while we get settled in. And what is up? Who am I talking to? Who am I looking at? Well, we've got our chat. We have a chat over on YouTube as well as a chat over on the Discord. There's our Discord chat right there. We've got hello Thin Man, hello Toddbot. Thanks for stopping by. If you want to jump into that chat, you can head on over to adafruit.it/discord and then just look for that live broadcast chat channel right there. We have a whole lot of channels right there with all kinds of things going on. Is it Ask a JPengineer? Is it JPegineer? I don't know. Maybe it's all those things. It's fun. So jump into the Discord because that's where the chat happens. I can't keep an eye on every possible chat. So if you're on Twitch or somewhere else and you're wondering where's the chat happening, that's probably your answer right there. So head on over to our Discord and hang out. It's a fun place. There's stuff going on all the time, and we have a lot of channels with different things going on. Help with, the whole help with section here, CircuitPython, 3D printing, Arduino, audio, and on and on. We have, we have these topics: CircuitPython Dev, TinyUSB, Show and Tell, and on and on. New products. We have these feeds that you can check out for different automated info that can come through from Adafruit's different socials and outputs. But yeah, here we are right here in live broadcast chat. So come on by. So what's going on tonight? I am going to do a coupon code for you so you can save some money in the store. I've got a wrap up of some Learn guides, some new Learn guides. I have a mini version of a new for a couple of new products to mention. I've got CircuitPython Parsec. I will do a recap of my product pick of the week from yesterday. We have 3D printing time lapse. We have video of a 3D printing project from Noe and Pedro. We have a project video from Aaron, Fire Pixie, very cool LED lamp project. And I'll do a little bit of some recapping of a couple of our other things, so stay tuned. We'll try to get this done in the next 45 minutes or so. Next week I'll be back on my usual project stuff. I do have a little mini retro thing project that I'll show off today. And then next week I've been working on an Instagram picture frame. I'll dive into that next week on my regular time slot show. And have a cool power supply project lined up after that. So those should be coming down the pike, and I'll be working on Learn guides for those as well. So let's see, what are we going to start off with? How about a coupon code? So it's It's this right here, Fanciness. So if you want to get 10% off in the Adafruit store, it's good all day today and part of tomorrow, so it's worth a shot even if you're catching this in rerun tomorrow. I set this to run a little longer than usual since normally we have a Wednesday and a Thursday show with a coupon. So Fanciness, that's going to get you 10% off in the store. Head on over to the Adafruit store. That's it right there. That's what it looks like. Just go to adafruit.com and you're in the store. You don't even have to get out of your chair. And if you look here, you'll see we have a new products section right at the top, as well as some different categories. You can see some feature products, which are not necessarily the newest, but they're stuff that we're highlighting. And if you want to check out some of this new stuff, just head to View All New Products right here, or up at the top, Products, and then View All New, or View All Featured. You can also shop by category up in here, so check out these categories if there's some stuff you're looking for. Our coupon code, let me move this so that that's prominent. Our coupon code right there, Fanciness, that is good for 10% off on physical goods. It won't work on software or gift certificates or subscriptions. And actually I also learned there are a couple of categories that it won't work on of product. I think, I don't want to get this wrong, I think maybe Raspberry Pi, the latest. I can't remember. I shouldn't talk. But yeah, I'll bone up on that. There are actually a couple of categories of things that the coupon code won't work on. That's probably just things where our partners don't want discounts on things, or the margins are too thin to make sense. But throw stuff in your cart. It should tell you which stuff you've gotten your discount on. You can look at the numbers and figure it out. 10% off, Fanciness. That's going to get you the coupon code discount for today and part of tomorrow. So go forth and shop. Get some neat stuff. All right, so next up, let's do a little recap of my product pick. So I've got this product pick of the week show right here. It happens yesterday. It happens on Tuesdays. And on that show, I like to grab something fresh from the store, or fairly fresh. You can see this one was the Memento this week, so it's been a little bit of time since that was our Ada box a few months ago, but we've now gotten enough stock back to do a product pick. We usually stash away 100 of them if we can, so that you can get a chance at getting the big 50% off. Here is a little 1-minute recap. Nope, now it is. Here we go. These are my product picks of the week this week. It is the Memento DIY open source camera board and the enclosure and hardware kit. I can turn that on. It will boot up. This one is running CircuitPython and one of our main demos. We call it the fancy camera demo. So I can take pictures. So if I just press that, click, snap, it just saves to the SD card. If I go up, we can go to GIF mode. This allows us to save short little GIF animations. Game Boy mode, that's this really cool dithered black and white thing. And I think these are RGBW with warm white. So let me go to this last color here. That's a nice warm light. You can see how natural that looks. We don't get the bluish hue from that. So that's a really nice one to do fill light for photography. It is the Memento DIY open source camera board and the enclosure and hardware kit. Hey, yes, that's right. That is what that is. So hopefully you got one if you were interested in getting them at the discount. One interesting discussion that went on in the chat during this show, some suggestions on how to use them, especially because for some people they were getting their second one if they'd already gotten one in the Ada box or they bought one previously, but they were too tempted, couldn't not get one for half off. Stereoscopy. Stereo. Ooh, my blue screen doesn't like when I do that. You can take two pictures with a offset between them that mimics the interocular distance of human eyeballs. Set up a little rig of a couple of Mementos. I think they would fit. I think the lens to lens would fit almost perfectly to do a pretty standard stereo pair. And then you could use something like Touch OSC as your trigger, or a Bluetooth LE trigger, or a single, would it work with a single button? Yeah, I think you can do a single button to two JST cables in order to take your photos at the same time. It'd be pretty neat for doing some stereo, and then you can combine those with different methods. Cross-eye stereo. You could potentially do filter, put a colored filter on the two and use glasses, but use the digital filter. Pretty cool. So whoever does that, let me know. I just got a comment that the recap was a lot louder than live. Let me check. What's the level looking like on live? Check. Yeah, that's pretty low. Let me goose this up just a little bit. Let me know if that peaks. That should be around minus 3 dB, which is pretty good. Thank you for the comment over in the chat. That's one of the benefits of live, is we can get feedback when our tech specs aren't up to snuff. So I appreciate you. Thank you, McQuinman16. The comment, Mark Gambler said, "Ooh, stereo would be cool with those. Stick them in one of those VR boxes that you can put your phone in." Oh yeah. So bring it. Bring the stereo. Who got two? Raise your hand. Who got two Memento cameras and is gonna try out some stereo stuff? That'd be pretty neat. I did one in the past using. I had a slider, and I would take a photo, slide my camera to the left, take the photo, and I just had stops so that I could get them the same distance consistently. But it would be a lot easier with two cameras. All right. So next up, we've got the CircuitPython Parsec. Let's do this.
CircuitPython Parsec.
All right, let me get my coding view up here and get set for this. Okay, so for the CircuitPython Parsec today, I wanted to talk about using FancyLED to get really smooth hue gradients. So what is this all about? If you're used to working with things like neopixels or dot stars, you can feed them colors with a lot of different methods. You can feed RGB, you can feed hex values, you can use color wheel from Rainbow.io. FancyLED is an add-on library that mimics some of the functionality of FastLED from the Arduino world. And if you look here, all I have to do is import FancyLED. I'm importing it as Fancy. And in this case, I'm using a, let me zoom in just a little bit here. You can see I'm using an RP2040, which has external power pin, which I have to enable before I can use this little external NeoPixel block here. And then I just have a strip of NeoPixels screwed into there. So you'll see I'm turning on the digital power there and setting that digital value to true, so that allows me to power. This is just something that's used for going into power saving mode. Then I'm setting up my NeoPixels as normal. So FancyLED doesn't mean you set up your NeoPixels any differently. We're still driving them with the NeoPixel library. What is different is how I'm specifying colors. So here you can see I'm setting up a color, and I'm using fancy.chsv. That's hue saturation value. Initially, I'm setting the hue to 0, which is red, on a color wheel that loops through all the colors. 1 is all the way back, the 360 degrees on the wheel. I have the saturation set at 1, and this essentially is the brightness. This is set at 0.1 to begin with. And then we're going to create a packed value that takes that set of integers and turns it into an RGB value that can be sent directly to the NeoPixels. And then I'm filling them with that value. So I'm going to go ahead and start this up. So let's rerun that. And one second here. I'm getting important messages from from the outside. I just need to turn off the alerts there. So now you can see what I'm doing is I'm setting up a number of steps. In this case, I want to smoothly run through this color wheel of hues. So I'm setting up 180 steps, and I'm telling it to run for 3 seconds. So let's play around with this a little bit, and then we'll look at how it works. So I'm going to make this really obvious. I'm going to drop down to just 3 steps. And again, it's going to take 3 seconds. So you should see it just pop from red to green to blue to red to green to blue. I'm pausing between them there, so you'll see it doesn't it kind of hitches when it gets back to that color. So that's 3 steps. That means it's running through the full color wheel with only 3 steps that it's stopping in. Let's double that. Let's do 6 steps. So now you can see we're getting some of those intermediate colors between red, green, and blue. So we're getting a yellow, we're getting a magenta, we're getting a cyan. And now we can start to increase this. Let's say we'll do 18 steps here. So now you'll see it kind of ticking through. And this may be familiar if you're used to trying to do gradients in sort of normal color modes with NeoPixels. They tend to be a little bit steppy. But what we can do now is bump this way up. So here's 180 steps in 3 seconds, and you can see it's very, very smooth. And in fact, what I'm going to do is I'm going to increase the time it takes to run through the color wheel to 10 seconds, and we'll set this to basically a degree per step. So this is perfect for things like very slow fading color changes like you see on art installations and in in-house lighting. So the way this works is in my main loop, all I'm doing is saying while the hue is less than 1, and we're just going from 0 to 1 with a float, the color is equal to fancy CHSV, my hue, my saturation, my value, which I've set up here. Then I am packing that with the color.pack, which turns it into a value we can send directly to the NeoPixel, so pixels.fill, and then that packed value. And then I'm just increasing the value of my hue by the step. And that step is going to be the 360 divided by the cycle time. So those are how many little individual increments we're going in. Then I'm going to sleep for that rate amount, and I'm also printing it out down at the bottom. So you can see it here just very slowly moving up from 0 to 1, and that's when it's going to return to red. So right here, the value is at hits 1, we're at red, and then it's going to actually go backwards. I'm cycling it down with this second set right here. And so this is how you can use FancyLED to create really nice color gradients in your hue inside of CircuitPython. And that is your CircuitPython Parsec.
CircuitPython Parsec.
All right. Yeah, so this is, by the way, pretty bright for my camera there, which is why I partly covered this with a piece of paper. And that is running at, I think, a 10th brightness. Is that right? What did I set my, no, my value, half brightness. So if we go to 1, ooh, that should be very, very bright. There we go. It didn't like 1, it wanted 1.0. Interesting. So this is full brightness. Reason I bring this up is if you set the brightness too low, you will start to see steps between the hue values. So it's underpowering some of the LED diodes, I think. So things can get weird if you bring it in way, way low. So here's at 0.1. Still looks good, but I was running it even lower than that, and I was noticing some steppiness. So just to keep that in mind. I'm laughing because over in the Discord, my hue. I didn't think of that when I wrote my hue. Thank you for that, some nice. All right. So let's get that out of the way there. And, oh, where'd I go? There I am. I'm going to unplug these NeoPixels now so they don't distract me down there. Pretty happy with that board, by the way. The PropMaker RP2040 really is convenient because of those screw terminals for adding on either external button, external speaker for the amplifier, or NeoPixels over the terminal block there. So it's a pretty nice no solder solution. You can get a lot of NeoPixel strips that already have wires on them. You can cut them, and if there's a connector on there, you can cut the connector and just strip a little bit of the insulation on there and screw them right in. So pretty cool. And yeah, Mark Gambler mentioned, so this is actually, I've really rarely used FancyLED, and I'd like to dive in more. Mark mentions that you can do a lot of fancy math to start going between two colors and not the full spectrum. There are color palettes, there are gradients that go between colors that are not just next to each other in the color wheel. So yeah, there's a lot of interesting stuff you can do to get good looking RGB LED stuff without really writing all of the color math from scratch. FancyLED takes care of a lot of that, including things like gamma correction so that you can get the perceived brightness to be the same among different hues, which is a trick of how eyes work that we have to compensate for, and usually we don't with linear RGB values. You'll see things darken when they go to certain colors. So there's a lot of neat stuff in FancyLED that I'd like to dive into. So let me know if you have any particular tips or example code that you'd like me to check out, and I will. Okay, let's see. Next up, I've got a set of Learn guides to check out. Let's jump over to Chrome here, and I'll get rid of that, and I'll get real small. So new Learn guides this week. We actually have 3 new Learn guides. We've got colorful creations with the JLC PCB service from Ambarella. This one, let me click to it. This one is really cool. So there was an announcement not too long ago that JLC PCB now accepts full color art for your silk screen on circuit boards, and Ambarella wanted to try it out by doing some jewelry. So there's a nice explanation of the designer, Piet Mondrian, who was a Dutch painter, who you may know these modernist squares, colorful squares in primary colors. So Anne decided to use the Mondrian design on PCBs that would be earrings and a necklace pendant. So these are not functional, there's no circuit attached to these, although you could, and Anne has done projects like that before. But this shows you, probably more importantly in this case, how to create your design, including some recommendations for some open source and in-browser image editing software, and then how to export that to Easy EDA, which it turns out is sort of a requirement if you're using JLC PCB full color printing service. You're not going to be able to do this inside of KiCad or Eagle or something else, so you do have to use Easy EDA. And does mention that there may be ways to start your design in your existing CAD software and then transfer it over to Easy EDA for the steps that are required there to do the full color stuff. So there's a really great step-by-step. Anne did the work, had to learn the new software and go through the tutorials and then apply those to creating the proper layers for the different board color sections so that this would work. And there's also some good advice on checking excuse me, on checking your Gerber files before you send them off to make sure that copper has worked. She had wanted to do copper fill instead of yellow and accidentally didn't fill those pores, so she ended up with a set of transparent sections that are purely the unmasked fiberglass FR4. So you can see, here's a little section on, oh yeah, you should check this, because if you do, you might get copper on there. But either way, here's details on how to set up your order. Lots and lots of excellent detail, and I'm going to definitely go through this because I think it'll be a lot of fun. Here is the gorgeous result. Look at these beautiful earrings with, there you can see the sort of yellowish green see-through FR4 section, and then these others were done with primary colors, but you can do pretty much any color you want. It's a, I assume it's a CMYK process on the end of it, and yeah, I'd like to give that a try. So there's the guide from Anne on creating your own full color PCBs. Next up, from the Ruiz brothers, this is the CNC rotary macro pad. So we got these really cool encoders in the shop that are typically used for a CNC mill or lathe to enter digital values that you're moving your mill around sort of by hand, so you crank them. They decided to take one of these encoders and build a macro pad for doing 3D slicer software manipulation. So macro pad up at the top gives you key commands, and then the wheel can be used for adjusting position, rotation, and camera things inside of the software. And I'll show a video for that later, but this goes through the circuit diagram. So this is using the little break apart Neo keys. So this is a, what do we call those? Excuse me, I have a frog in my throat. I'm going to drink some water. Sorry about that. They are the ortho snap apart. So we have this 5x4 grid. They snap it down to use 3x4 in the project and then wire those up with columns and rows. It's a diode matrix. And they've, of course, got some cool 3D printed case and faceplate and back for it. Instructions on setting up the code and installing it and wiring it up. And finally assembling all of the parts into the finished controller, which in this case is sending out HID keyboard shortcuts, but you could set this up to send out MIDI, you could set this up to send out other, this actually uses mouse for the rotary encoder in some cases when you want to do mouse wheel kinds of things. So you've got different projects you could approach with this. But this one is one example of using the hardware that they've put together and the circuit they've put together to do 3D slicer stuff. And then finally, switching over here, the last new guide that we have is Floor Lamp with NeoPixels and WLED custom animations from Aaron St. Blaine. And this one, let me go to the, here you are. I'll also show a video for this in a minute, but this is really beautiful. It is this gorgeous crystal lamp that is, my favorite part about it, I think, is that it is a Hot Wheels or Matchbox car racetrack as the loop, which has been primed and painted and then used silicone caulking to attach NeoPixel strip. And then big clear crystals, plastic crystals have been attached, adhered on top of that. And it's on a metal lamp pole that's been mounted into a little piece of wood and uses capacitive touch with these little foil Adafruit logos at the base to trigger on-off and modes. So you can go through this. It will show you a wiring diagram, how to set it up. It's using a CircuitPy, how to install the WLED software, so you can do a lot of browser or phone adjustment of your patterns, putting together the electronics, and then building the lamp. You can see here she's got all the nice step-by-step of this. Really beautiful results. And like I said, we'll show a video in a moment. So those are our new guides. Go check those out in the Learn system. And let's jump into some of these videos.
You can build a custom macro pad with the CNC rotary encoder, Adafruit's NeoKey switches, and the Feather RP2040. We designed this project to be a custom macro pad for controlling our slicing software for 3D printing. Each key is assigned a shortcut in the Ultimaker Cura software. You can switch between tools like Move, Scale, Rotate, and Support Blocker. The CNC rotary encoder can switch between different modes, allowing you to rotate around a 3D model and even zoom in and out. Powered by the Feather RP2040, this dev board has all the GPIO for wiring up the NeoKey switches and the rotary encoder with plenty of features to spare. It features the RP2040 chip with 8 MB of SPI flash, 21 GPIO pins, Stemma QT, and onboard LiPoly battery charging. The CircuitPython code allows for easy customization. You can change the keyboard shortcuts to control any number of software such as CAD, graphics, and video editing software. In the code, the lower key switches toggle between different modes for the rotary encoder. This makes it much more versatile, allowing you to quickly switch between keyboard arrow keys and the mouse scroll wheel. Adafruit's NeoKey switches feature built-in NeoPixels and MX-compatible key sockets for swapping out different key switches. A full sheet features 30 key switches that can be snapped apart to make any size grid. This allowed us to create a custom 3x4 layout for making an ortholinear keypad. These Kale Black linear key switches have a smooth actuation with a nice silent key press. They just pop right into the sockets and you can remove them using a spudger prying tool. These clear keycaps feature the DSA profile, and we think they're great for allowing the NeoPixel LEDs to shine through. All of the keys glow white by default, and each key will glow a different color when pressed to show the different hotkeys. My favorite part of this project is the CNC rotary encoder because I can quickly change it from pressing arrow keys to scrolling the mouse wheel. We hope this inspires you to check out Adafruit's snap-apart NeoKey switches and CircuitPython for creating your own custom macro pad.
For today's project, make a beautiful floor lamp out of Hot Wheels tracks and NeoPixels. Clear crystal gems diffuse the light in a beautiful way. Affix your lamp in a spiral and then add capacitive touch sensors to turn your light on and off and change modes. You can also control the lamp with any smartphone with Wi-Fi. Or use the capacitive touch to turn the lamp on and off and change modes with your foot. See the full build tutorial at learn.adafruit.com and remember to subscribe for more fun videos.
Aha! Hey, we're back. All right, what's happening now? Question in the chat about the feel of the encoder wheel. And squid.jpg said it's like soft clicks, feels really nice and high quality. I have one. Do I have it right there? I had one right there. I may have put it away. I was cleaning up. But I do plan to do a project with those at some point as well. But yeah, they feel great, the little DRO encoders. What is happening in the chat? What is JP's NeoPixels? What is that container? Is that honey? It might be honey. Speaking of honey, has anyone been watching the men's gymnastics in the Olympics? The men often use honey to add to their grip. I don't know about in women's gymnastics, but men will use it on like parallel bars along with all the chalk, but they'll use honey. I noticed that Asher Hong brought some Trader Joe's honey. There was a nice close-up during the podium day before the competition began, and they did a nice zoom in on Asher's Trader Joe's honey. I liked that. All right. Tabat says, if I have one of those encoders, I should hold it up to the mic so you can hear it clicky. Okay, we'll do some rotary encoder ASMR sometime, but not today, because that encoder, I have moved it somehow. I swear it was sitting there for like a year, and it's not there anymore. All right, let's see. Next up, how about let's take a look at some new products. So, let me jump over to the main page, and I'll head to new products if my browser will allow me. Uh-oh, there's an internal error. Okay, I'm not going to change anything. Let's just take a look at what I've got already up there. Maybe clicking isn't working. Hopefully streaming is still working. It looks like it is. So 2 new products this week. We have the reversible USB Type A plug connector breakout. So this is a breakout board for USB 2.0. So you get power, ground, data minus, data plus. You can solder to those and then run those to whatever it is you're up to. But this, unlike a lot of breakouts, is one of these reversible USB-A plugs. So these are incapable of being inserted incorrectly. So of course you know how often you have to try 3 times to get it right. This one, there is no wrong. It has such a thin center that, and it doubles the pins that you can insert it either direction. It'll fit properly into a USB jack. So that is nice. That's a bit of a luxury there, depending on the type of projects you're making. Also, we have a lot of these breakouts, so you can assemble up your own weird and interesting solutions to USB connectivity, which I like a lot. And this is the first time I've seen one that has the reversible connector. So go check that out. That is coming soon. And if you want to know when that actually hits the store, you can just type in your email address and click Notify Me, and you'll get an email when that is available. And also you can check, by the way, the new products feed over in our Discord. So if you look in Discord, I've scrolled down on the side here. In the feeds section, there's a new products, and that you can check that out too to find out when new products are out or when there's other activity in the new products sphere. And our second is, this is the second in our series of ESP32C3. I think it is. Oh no, this is the first one. Yeah, this is the first one we've done with the ESP32C3 board. So this is a Feather running the Espressif Wi-Fi 6 SoC, which has 2.4 gigahertz Wi-Fi and Bluetooth LE. And this brings the, as it says here, brings the goodness you know from the low-cost C3 series and improves it with Zigbee. So you can do 802.15.4 protocol 2.4 gigahertz, which means you can use it for development in Matter. And there are probably some other 2.4 gigahertz things you can do with it. I'd actually be kind of curious if this can be used for game controller things, because some game controllers, like Windows with an Xbox controller, you use the 2.4 gigahertz connector for that usually, not Bluetooth. So this is coming soon, and you can check that one out. Let's see, do I have the video for that? I don't think I plopped the video down, but I may have, because there was a earlier announcement of this, I think, before it was ready. Let me just check my folder of assets that I prepared here and see. No, okay, I didn't throw a video of that. But if you go to this product page, sorry, let me show you that. I forgot to switch over to that screen. If you switch over, if you go over to the new products, inside of products, click on that, look for the ESP32C3, and you can watch the video inside of here of the original announcement of that. I won't click on that. Yeah, this was a few months ago. I won't click on that just because I think my browser might be unhappy about it, and you get a weird laggy performance. So those are the new products there, and good news, like I said, Lady Ada will be back to sing her new song and deliver a bunch of new goodness. Yeah, I'm getting that too. Okay, so yeah, next week tune in for Ask an Engineer, and you will get hopefully some new. Just saw in the Discord chat, some nice said they're also getting this 503 error on the new page. Oh, it loaded now. Okay, it was temporarily acting flaky, but here you go. It was able to load now. I'm not sure what was broken there, but it should be back. And that's your new. All right, let's then dive. Lastly, so I said I'll be back with regular projects next week, but I did have one little retro project, retro find gear report and minimal fix that I had to do to you guessed it, a television. Speaking of television, there's our NTSC stripes. I've got a camera that is unhappy over here with the heat, so let me turn that back on so we can get it to point over here long enough. So this is a little black and white TV. Actually, I'm going to zoom quite a bit on that. Let's go down there like that. Sure. And let me head over there. Let's get me out of there. So this is a little portable black and white that I got. Picked it up for $35 on Craigslist. So super portable. You can see got a cute little carry handle on it. It's just VHF and UHF. It had an antenna that broke off of it. Can take batteries, has a D-cell slot, 9 D-cells here, or can take a roughly 12 or 13 volt adapter, which is what I have on it. And the thing with this, it needed some tuning, but it also needed a new, what do we call this? Balun, or an antenna transformer that goes from the 75 ohm external antenna that's coming from most of my stuff to the 300 ohm connection that it wants there. So the one that was on here was one of these cheap, like $6 on Amazon ones, and it was shorting all over the place. I took it apart and it was really garbage. So I looked up online, and you can basically do 2 twists of 2 wires around a ferrite bead. I'll show you a picture of it, some pictures I took as I went, and a certain arrangement of the wires connecting to each other allows you to roughly go from the 300 to the 75 to the 300. So if I just to show you the image here, this thing will probably look a lot better if I turn off that light. Yes, and I'm going to turn it on, and I'm just going to feed it from a little RF adapter, my Atari keychain toy thing here. So it needs some tuning. One of the nice things about this kind of TV is that they have a fine tune on them, which a lot of TVs don't. So you'll go to channel 3 and that's it. This one actually has a nice little fine tune on it, which is quite necessary, as you can see. Get that tuned pretty good there, and then I'm going to go into the V-hold. I better look at this. There we go, closer. Kind of locked in, there we go. So it's actually a pretty nice looking picture on there. Let me see if I can zoom in more. Oh, where did that remote go? I don't know where that TV or that camera remote went. There you are. I cleaned up, which is a problem because I don't know where anything is. Yeah, so it's a pretty nice sharp picture. I think one thing you'll find sometimes with these older tubes that are in portables is that they didn't get used a ton. Portable TV is a neat idea, but I think a lot of them don't have many hours on them compared to something that sits in your living room. So we can, let's see if I can get this thing to start. Okay, yeah, there's Warlords. So you can see me play a game of Warlords here, backwards. Oh. Huh. Oh, yeah. Oh. And so all of that is thanks to the fact that I was able to just, with some wire, create a little matching impedance to go from 75 to 300 ohm. So let me, oh, that camera just died, but that's okay. That timing is good because I'm going to turn this off. And I'll just show you some pictures of this coming together. I might do a circuit playground on that. Let me just grab a new background, and I'll do media files. Okay, give me a second, and I'll grab these images. Actually, this one will do it right here. Yeah. Okay. Can I move out of the way there? Okay. Yeah. So this, I'll make the me smaller. There we go. So this is the circuit. So we're going from the that side there. That's where the 75 ohm antenna comes in. So there's a ground that can just be tied to itself here, and then we go to the ground and the signal of that cable. And then the windings, you can see they're opposite or crossed with each other. So this other side here, oh, I can't point that far, that way over there. That's what connects up to the TV. And I don't have an antenna analyzer to see what impedance I actually got, but I have a friend who's visiting who might bring one, so we'll see how close it got. But without it, if you try to go directly from the 75 ohm to that TV, you get wavy, crazy lines. I think that are a lot to do with like a 60 hertz signal coming through. So I think this strips that out. I think that's what the impedance matching does. So you can tell I know very little about radio, how the antennas and the radio waves and the impedance matching is supposed to work, but I was able to find a DIY Balun example that was close enough to get that to work. So that plus a whole bunch of heat shrink. Let's see, I'll show you what the thing looks like on its own. Allowed me to have something like that right there. So I was reusing the connector on both ends from the garbage one that was shorting itself out. And largely I think it's just because it's made with a bunch of enamel wire. It was very, very tiny. And I think some of the enamel wire was scratched off, so it was shorting itself where it shouldn't have been. But that was my my retro project success for the day. Kind of amazing that thing works as well as it does, and a cute little design. Since it's quite portable and has a lot of space inside it, particularly in the D-cell port, I may try to do something with USB power for it and use that space to add a ripped apart Atari console or something like that. So we'll see. All right. That I think is going to do it for today. So I can actually remove the blue screen because that's no longer needed. This is no longer going to be Ask JP's workshop. So we'll go back to our usual style next week. I don't know. We could keep this if we want, but drop some screwdrivers here. There's me in the real base now. Go back to this and let me turn off all the blue screening that it's trying to do there. Let's get rid of, boop. All right. That is it. That's going to do it. Thanks everyone for stopping by. I will, since this was ostensibly the Ask a JP's workshop, I will take some questions before I go. So if you want, go ahead and queue up some questions over in the chat. I'm going to fix the cropping on this just because I don't need to be cropped anymore either. Let's go whoa, whoa, and here, whoop, and boom. Hey, look, it's the workshop again. So let's see. Let me pull up the Discord. And whoa, oh, everything's in funny place. Okay, I can't bring up the Discord because my camera's on top of it. Let's see. Mark Ambler said the site is slow but responding again. Yeah, so that's to do with the Adafruit site went weird there for a minute. Portable TVs are the future, right? Yeah, let me, now that I got this camera here, I'll unplug the cable from the back and haul this over there. Look at that, huh? I've had my eye on one of these for a long time. They're just so, they look like a alien rangefinder prop or something like that. This one's missing a bunch of parts. You can yank that dial and use it over there if you need to do UHF for some reason. The outer indicator for channels is gone from there. Got this little rugged handles and things on it. This is where the D batteries are. But they've got this cute little snout on it to shade the light when you're out watching that at the baseball stadium or whatever you're going to use it for. Let's see, any questions? No. Mark Gambler says, I've watched multiple videos on impedance and only vaguely understand it for 5 minutes after then and then forget it. Yeah, I don't think I go even as long as 5 minutes of understanding, but impedance. All right. Thanks everyone for stopping by. I will mention one more time, if you want to jump out of the way here. If you want to save 10% in the Adafruit store, go buy some stuff. Go get some cool things. Make some neat things. You can use that coupon code right up there, Fanciness. That will get you 10% off in the store on any physical stuff you can get. Go check out new products. Go check out feature products, different categories over in the Adafruit shop. Fill up your cart. Type that in the coupon code field on the way out. One thing I forgot to mention is that we do have, let's see if the site is responding a little faster. We do have a number of freebies you can get depending on how much you spend. So spend $99 or more, you get a free PCB coaster. Spend $149 or more, you get the free PCB coaster and a KB2040. If you spend $199 or more, you can get free continental shipping in the United States and the coaster and the KB2040. And if you spend $299 or more, you can get a free Circuit Playground Express and the free shipping in the continental United States with UPS Ground and the KB2040 and the coaster. So those are all freebies that you can get by buying a bunch of stuff in the Adafruit shop, and you can save yourself some money by using Fanciness as your coupon code. All right, thanks everyone so much for this wild time doing a hybrid show during Wednesdays. Next week, Lamore and Phil will be back from Brooklyn for the first time to do Ask an Engineer. They'll also be doing Show and Tell, I believe. Thank you, by the way, to Noe and Pedro for covering as hosts on Show and Tell tonight, and for everyone who brought out their very cool projects. I'm going to go check those out right after this. And thank you. I'll be back on next Tuesday with another product pick of the week, and then Thursday with John Park's very normal workshop, slightly cleaned up edition. All right, thanks everyone. For Adafruit Industries, I'm John Park. This has been Ask a JP's Workshop, or something like that. Bye-bye.